some Cape Town communities are still recovering following devastating floods this week. The city's emergency teams had been deployed yesterday to assist residents hit by heavy rains and flooding. Some of the worst affected areas include informal settlements in Khayelitsha, Langa and Delft. This is a live picture coming to you from Easter River in Cape Town. That's where we also find our reporter, Nasiphi Same, who is there for us. I mean, Nasiphi, I'm nervous watching this picture and watching the queue of people, including school children, who are waiting to cross this river.
Yeah. So, Michelle, what you are currently looking at are people that are actually coming from work, some even going to work, trying to make their way from one side of what was a road, which is Spine Road, to the other side. As you can see, this gentleman making his way across this river, what has now become a river, which was right next to the road of Spine Road, obviously collapsing the road. We'll just show you how the rain, or the devastating rain, collapsed this particular road, which is Spine Road. We do understand that traffic moving from Easter River, Khayelitsha, and in the surrounding areas that make use of this road have been diverted. And obviously, looking at the devastation, it's going to take a very, very long time for authorities to get this road up and running and for people to start using it. But as you mentioned, a number of communities have been affected, and clearly roads as well, by the devastating rain. Speaking to the mayor yesterday, saying that in just 2 days alone, Cape Town has received, it's June rain, saying that the amount of rain that it has received, it amounts to about the entire month of June, and saying that they obviously now need to prepare for the July rain to ensure that everything is ready in terms of mitigating the floods in the various communities that you mentioned. I mean, just yesterday alone, going to communities like Marikana in Philippi, where people are living in homes that have been flooded, going as far as saying that every time it rains, or every time they get a notification that it will be raining, they panic because they know that their community and their homes will be submerged in water.
I see traffic officials standing on the side of the road. They're watching people cross on what is a very precarious, I mean, that's a barrier, isn't it? It was a barrier on the side of the road there. That's the Spine Road in Easter River. And it doesn't look stable, obviously. One just imagines a situation where someone, and it's so likely, someone falls in while trying to cross, and that water is moving quite quickly.
Quite quickly indeed, Michelle. I mean, we might look at it and think that it's not deep, but taking into account, you know, the length or the height from where the road was to where we're standing and where the water is moving, one would think that it's actually not deep, but you just never know. And there aren't, you know, we don't have anyone here that could possibly save them if should something happen. So it will be another devastating effect of the rains. But we do know that, you know, there are a number of schools in the metro, in Makaza, Strand and the likes, that closed yesterday due to the rain. Some schools indicating that they were not able to access the school premises. The education department confirming this and also saying that they will obviously have to make arrangements in terms of assessments, as we do know that some schools are writing their June assessments.
I was wondering, Nasiphi, why the traffic officials who are there are not stopping people. I mean, the person who's currently crossing here, who's on screen, clearly doesn't know just how deep the next step he's going to take is. What are the officials telling you there?
Well, Michelle, it's quite interesting why they did not stop the people trying to cross over. Because, you know, as I mentioned, the traffic is being diverted to use alternative routes. And he obviously took quite some time moving from one end to the other because we don't know exactly how deep the water is. And there's also school children standing here, and the traffic officials have now moved meaning that I suppose that people are left to their own device to try and, cross over to the other side. And it's quite interesting why they are letting people even walk to where the road has collapsed, because, the water, as you mentioned, is moving. We don't know how deep it is. And clearly, the fact that it has collapsed a road, the current that it's moving in is obviously pretty strong. So it's quite interesting why they have left people to just come and cross over a barricade that is obviously not stable, because the road has, or rather the water and the rain has collapsed the road. So it's quite interesting. But when we were allowed to come in, we obviously needed to make sure that we show our press card in order to be allowed in, but we were told that we need to stop at a particular point. So I don't know why officials are actually allowing people to come through.
Look, we all breathed a sigh of relief when the previous person made it across the river just a few moments ago. This person not starting off very well there, but it's really just bizarre that those traffic officials, oh gosh, were on site just moments ago, and that they are allowing this. But of course, having said that, people need to get to work. Students who understand are also writing exams. Nasiphi, as far as you can see, is there nowhere else to get across to the other side there?
There is, but one needs to walk quite a stretch, Michelle. Looking at these children, I'm assuming they're coming from the other side, which is probably Khayelitsha. They would have to walk along the N2, which might just be from the Spine Road off-ramp to the next one, which is the next one, which is probably like 3 kilometers, and then walk down into the community of East River, which is probably another 5 kilometers. I'm just estimating now, Michelle. So I'm assuming before they get to work, if they make use of alternative routes, they will have to walk about maybe 15 kilometers. And they obviously were not anticipating this, Michelle, because we woke up to the news that Spine Road has indeed collapsed, and we saw it on social media. But that doesn't guarantee that everybody, when they woke up, they were able to see the devastation that the road, or rather the heavy rains and the downpours have done, or the mess that it created during the course of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, all of us have had our blood pressure spiked here in studio watching those people cross over. Really a close call there on so many occasions. We really keep fingers crossed that officials will intervene there before something devastating happens. Nasiphi Same, thanks very much for that update. Live to us there in East River in Cape Town, where you can see some of the damage caused by the flooding from this week's downpours.